All right, hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Flex and Joe. I'm back with another video recapping the ES NQ and VIX strategy. Today we're going to be going over Friday, October 25th. So on Friday, October 25th, I want to start us out by looking at ES, which had to contend with two different gaps, okay? The first gap originates from October 22nd, right back here. You can see where we closed at 58.92 at 4 p.m. on the 22nd, right? And then here's where we opened on the 23rd. Really no bullish price action pushing out of that gap. Those sellers were defending this gap, and we had a large move down. The very next day in pre-market on a news candle, we couldn't breach into that gap. You understand it's pretty strong, and so it's still a point of interest. Then when we closed on the 24th into the 25th, we had a sizable gap up, which put us right at the open of that gap. Higher probability that we fill that gap, which is exactly what we did. At the open, the CVC was long from here, and so as we're pushing into the open and you get this bearish candle here right before the open, could not flip CVC. Still maintaining the long bias for everybody, and that's the way to play it out, right? So understanding why we have those two gaps drawn there, and I'll talk about them more as we go through the rest of the price action. I want to also call out that VIX had the same gap, right? But it was a gap down, right? I'm sorry, it was a gap up because the market gapped down. So the gap up here, same thing from the 22nd to the 23rd. You see they just push into it a little bit. You know, this is the orb low. We talked about that in a previous video, and it's been holding. So now when we get into this same gap area on the 25th, we come down into the golden zone of this gap, and it's holding just like regular price action would, and then it starts to push up. Into the open, it was bearish though, and we were trending downward. This was very nice, giving everybody more of a reason to stay long the market, right? Obviously, as we have the big push up, this moves down, and then we start to come back up here. I want to call everyone's attention to this CBC flip right here and the following candles. We flip CBC long here, which is bearish for the market. Really strong bullish candle, bullish all the way to the end, right? Nearly at the orb high. The next two candles are little indecision candles, and they do not close back below 10-minute 9. So if we were going to be bearish, or if this was going to be a pullback or bearish continuation to the downside, there should have been more follow through, and there wasn't. The following candle, you know, it does open right outside of it or right on it. This is also right at where VIX opened. They've reclaimed the open on VIX, and it starts to push up to the orb high, rejects a little bit and comes back down. The next candle punches through it. And then from there, you can really obviously just follow the candle by candle price action, understanding what's going on. I really call this out though, because this was the gap supporting, pushing back up. It comes into the EMAs here, and the EMAs are supporting, and so you're getting bullish EMA support from a bearish EMA. Right? This is your 9 under the 20. It's a bearish EMA look, but you're getting bullish support for it. So now that I've got that identified for everybody, right, and I encourage you all to go back and spend some more time to look at that. I've drawn your attention to that area. Let's look at what this looks like on the charts right here. So bullish CBC flip at 10:30. Okay. Another thing that's important to note is that at 10:20 or by 10:20 or the close of the 10:20 candle, that's 10:30. This is your initial balance high, which is what a lot of financial institutions use as their sort of opening range, their orb. They use the first 1 hour of trading. So the first 1 hour of trading, we made this high, and then subsequently CBC flips short, right? It flips short here on ES and NQ at the exact same time. VIX was first. So VIX was the first one, then the market follows. So now you have all three that are in line, and they confirm. If you were looking to try to find an entry for short, seeing that we were making potentially lower highs, if you drew a fib on this leg here, and I'll zoom in so it's easier to see, you can see that we respected the golden zone from the bearish sense, and they still wanted to keep pushing lower. We're failing to push higher and get back above the orb and reclaim it with strength. So them failing to reclaim it with strength is key, because it gives more confluence or greater confluence to the bearish side of things. But from there, you know, when you get the CBC flip back short here on the VIX, and this gap that I'm talking, we're sort of in right here, is the gap down from the prior day. You can see that it pushes back down, bearish flip, comes back down under the EMAs, however, instantly reclaims it. You see how this is instantly reclaimed, but this one was not instantly reclaimed? That's the difference, and you get another CBC flip back long. This CBC flip back long, right, where whenever we break through the cloud and instantly reclaim is a very bullish signal. A very bullish signal here. Very bearish for the market, right? On the VIX, sorry about that, the VIX and ES flipped back market short on the same candle. And then NQ followed, and then we just dumped, right? This was a huge trade. I know that you had this move down here under the opening print, under the orb low, and it snapped back up like 70 points. I understand that, but this is a scale trigger, right? And so any of us in the House of Stacks know that when you break a key pivot like low of day, you need to be scaling, and many other people do as well. You're also going to re-engage strong buyers here, you know, but there's maybe orders that are unfilled or whatever, but this was the opening print, that a huge push. So you should expect that somebody's going to defend their position here, or they're going to get out and take profit here because they know this is a key area where buyers were and they had strength when they were there, right? So that's why you get this push up. But from there, you know, you don't even touch the 10-minute EMAs and you just come right back down and make a new low of day. So you don't get a CBC flip short. You just get a candle with a long wick. You get a candle with a long wick rejection right here on VIX. And, you know, the subsequent candles continue to move higher, right? Where, you know, if you can see that they break below the orb, right? And, you know, on ES, they're much lower. But you get the CBC flip back long. The problem is that you're pushing into bearish EMAs, and you're pushing into bearish EMAs here on NQ. And while it's still a trade you could take, it's probably not the best one. It's probably best to just wait, you know, to have rejection with inside the 10-minute EMAs, which you do. CBC flips back short. You can buy on this candle, high probability trade. You know, you go from the 30s on NQ. You make like a 30-point move or so. So it's pretty solid, right? When the CBC flips short here on VIX, look right into the EMAs. Pushes down a little bit lower into the EMAs. Inverted hammer within the EMAs on the 10. Next candle, CBC flip back long, right? And the mark, all three of them agreed. We had CBC flip long on VIX, CBC short on NQ, CBC short on ES. That is a short trade trigger. You go short and you get paid, right? However, I'm not saying that this doesn't work and that there aren't times where this does just trail off, you know, significantly, but there wasn't much for follow through here. Just looking at pure candle by candle price action. So hopefully this makes sense and sort of clears things up. I think there was some confusion with some people who talked to me about Friday's price action, but reading it and seeing how we were moving lower on NQ and then also on ES, same thing with that initial balance high. That would be the high of this candle, right? Make the initial balance high, you push back down, you're back under the orb. They never reclaim the orb high. They never close the 10-minute candle back over the orb high. I know you have bullish EMAs here, but this is very bearish price action. Same thing, if you draw in the fib, boom, right in the golden zone is where those bears defend, and it just starts to push down lower. This CBC flip here, I also want to call out. I understand that this was a long flip on ES. However, what are you long flipping into, right? You're flipping into this golden zone of this gap. You have the mid orb here, aka the belly button. You have VWAP, and you need to see that price is able to sustain that because your EMAs are just crossing bearish right here. NQ pushed into the orb high, into resistance. So this is, you know, you have both markets, ES and NQ, pushing into resistance. It makes it a whole lot harder to want to go long when you know you're at a resistance point that was holding earlier, right? And then from there, no follow through. It comes back down. CBC flips back short, and then you could get a good entry here as well. So if you have any questions about this, please hit me up in the comment section down below. Appreciate you all for watching, and don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next video.